How's it going, guys? So I'm going to do some drone building videos. Kind of show you guys how, what, when, and why I do what I do. And hopefully I could share some experiences and pass forth some knowledge to you guys. So we'll start with the motor, one arm. I use brace wire. Genuine 3M tape from Walmart. This stuff is amazing. It works really well. So I'll start. I've got one motor mounted to the arm. Normally I build the Floss 2. This is the new Floss 3. There's a lot of similarities between them. I wouldn't be too worried if you can find a more budget option. Over here and just kind of trace that out. The iron on, I'll tell you guys what, Flux is amazing. It works really well. I'll measure these out like that. Give myself just a little slack. Chop it off with a scalpel. Wire cutters probably work really good too. Just mark it, snip. This is what I have right here next to me. I'll just kind of line those up. Go like this. Save this wire. It's good for pretty much everything. And we'll take and measure that out. Let's get some good snips for this. Let's go like this, across there. I'm wearing a hat, probably getting in the way. Sorry about that. So you guys can understand, this is pretty straightforward. Rip, twist, and I guess I can explain the soldering too. Sorry, off camera. Just twisting these wires. If you twist them and then solder them, they have a better chance of staying together. If you smash them down flat with your iron. Okay, I'm going to pause it for a second because I forgot a tool. Okay, we're back. Got my little snippers. I guess I could take the moment to go over what I'm running. Brother Hobby 2205 1700 kV. This is going to be a 6S build, lightweight racer. I've kind of experienced or dabbled around with some lightweight builds. The lighter they are, the more addicting they are. They just kind of go where you want them to go. As far as flux, you don't need flux. There's flux in the wire, but flux makes things exponentially easier. This is some I got for batteries here recently. I plan on trying out. It's supposed to solder aluminum as easy as putting the flux on there and adding solder and soldering aluminum. Haven't tried it yet. It's supposed to be real good stuff. I also got some Banggood stuff here. It's pretty gnarly. And it just makes life easier. It goes, the solder will only go where the flux is. And so if you can get a flux to run good into places, it works real good off the wire, but then it runs out. It burns off rather quickly, depending on the solder, etc., etc. What I'm doing here is I'm just like shoving it down into these holes, because it's dual layer PCB, meaning the traces run on top and bottom. And so if you get solder through the holes, it's not just the holes connecting the top and bottom, it's the solder as well. I'm going to use some good old genuine 6040. Probably can't hear me. I've lost it. Oh, here it is. Going back to the 60/40, I've been using some of the 60 or 73/37. Stuff's junk. 60/40 works so much better. I know it's just very, very little difference between the two, but it actually makes a pretty big difference. Put your iron on there, get it hot, wet the pad, let it run in. I think I've got this iron way too hot at 480. Let's turn that down to around 400s where I like to solder these bigger pads. Boom, there you go. We gotta tin these. If you tin everything, it just, trust me, it's worth your time to tin it. Everything coated. Okay, I might take the motor off this arm to do this, but let's go ahead and take these wires that we set aside here earlier. Scalpel, just kinda like that, twist, twist, that, twist. There we go. Set this aside. Kind of imagine we're gonna have this way, and so I want my wires kind of coming to the side because I'm gonna wrap around into the 4-in-1. So let's go ahead and dunk this in flux and just kind of touch it. I'll take my hat off, you can't see my head anyways. And so yeah, with flux on the wire, you just kind of got to heat it up. Even if you just have solder on your iron, if you have a good amount of flux on there, it just kind of sticks and flows. Sometimes too, well, if you notice your wires are hard, way out from the end, it's because you got too much flux. And then that creates a stress point clear back here where they inevitably break because they don't want to flex up here. They flex. If that makes any sense at all. Okay, so I'm going to turn this way, kind of go at an angle, hold that down, and just kind of touch it till it gets hot. It helps to add solder while you're doing this. Get in there nice and quick. And get out of there nice and quick. You can touch these up when they're on the bird. Oops. I haven't done this in a while, so I'm not all that practiced up. Okay, sometimes it pays if you can't get it the first time. Go ahead and work on a different pad or a different job so we don't bake it. A lot of people use the sponges, the wires. I never really liked the sponge, and I never really got those copper wire things, but I have used one. They work great. Probably will invest in one someday, possibly, maybe not. There may be a better way to do this. I don't know. Just doing what I do. So I run somewhat of a budget build in the aspect I run really cheap motors because they're cheap, they're easy to replace, they're not exceptionally durable, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. So there's three kind of pie chart circles, if you will. You've got cheap, you've got durable, and you've got reliable. You can never have more than two, or it's something that's just kind of obvious. Like, for example, we run carbon fiber frames. The reason everybody runs carbon fiber frames is because they're relatively cheap, they're super durable, and tighten this up. And so it's just a no-brainer. Things like motors, flight controllers, that kind of stuff, there's always a trade-off. And so I like to run cheap and high performance, because then I just replace them. And cheap and light, hence high performance, adds some durability in itself because, well, for obviously reasons, there's just less momentum. Kind of the key behind micros. And so I find, unless you're dealing with steel gates, in which case nothing's durable, because steel just does not move like plastic. I find them incredibly durable, especially when you run everything how I build it. But I do make trade-offs, and I'll show you some of them as we go through this series. Remember, if you have any questions that I'm not answering or not talking about, maybe I'm overlooking, just leave them in the comments. Helps me out, and hopefully I can help you out. Like, comment, subscribe, share, etc. That took longer and was more painful than I thought it should be. So let's go ahead and it'll work out pretty good. Wipe off this flux so that it sticks. Make sure our arm's good and clean. If you need to clean it with something, scrubbing it, soap and water, acetone, rubbing alcohol, they all work great. So I'm going to stick this to the arm, and if we have to help rearrange the motor, we'll take it off. Just stick that right down like that. Stuff's crazy strong bond. I've seen it break arms where it breaks right through the race wire too. Like, it does not separate at all to these flat surfaces. But in order to get that bond, you need to let it squeeze it and let it sit for like 24 hours. I think it's the 3M cure time. Not a necessity, but I mean, it sticks pretty damn good right away. I just find that helps extraordinarily. So I'm going to go the middle and then the two outsides. I'm just kind of going to get that hot. Might need to add some flux in there. A little solder. You've got those barred wheel pads. Make damn sure you don't short out between the two pads. Burn up a brand new ESC like I got with this wire right here. I like a good wedge tip for these bigger joints, and then I do so very little smaller joints that I pretty much never use anything else. If I have to cheat, I use flux. And just maybe sometimes a little lower temperature. This. I don't know, that might look a little shoddy. Usually after I'm done doing this, I'll take and coat them with some liquid electrical tape, conformal coating, pretty much the same thing, just adds another layer from shorts like loose wires, solder balls, things like that, and also water, of course. And there we go. I'll do the other three off camera and probably start with another video. Like, comment, subscribe, let me know what else you guys want to see.